Ladies and gentlemen, put your hands together because it's the season premiere of Season 2, Episode 1 of Philly Comedy Club presents the RUS GUTIN Experience here on Zoom, ladies and gentlemen. Put your hands together, unmute yourselves. Thank you so much for joining us tonight. We are so excited to have you here for the season premiere of Season 2, Episode 1 of Philly Comedy Club presents the RUS GUTIN Experience here on Zoom. That's right, and this week we have amazing QUARAN-BITS from POPPA RUS, and we have our spectacular guest on Album of the Week featuring material from his new EP that's available to buy on iTunes at the comic strip live, my baby boy, Mr. Reg Thomas. So give it up for tonight's guest, ladies and gentlemen. Also, two little infomercial notes for you, just so you know. Last season, Season 1 of Philly Comedy Club presents the RUS GUTIN Experience here on Zoom is now available here on my YouTube channel. So go ahead and like and subscribe on that. We have amazing guests, including Nico White, David James, Ben DeMarco, and the co-writer of The King of Staten Island, Dave Cyrus. All on that, including other guests. And we are proud to announce that tonight is the season premiere of Season 2. And we have amazing guests lined up the next few weeks for you, including Reg Thomas tonight. Next week, the Commissioner of Comedy, Mr. James Matter, then MTV and Colbert's Mr. Jacob Williams, then the co-host of the biggest podcast in the world that's been featured in Entertainment Weekly, Couples Therapies, Andy Beckerman, and Naomi Ekparagan, who I think is one of the best living comedians. And then we're going to take off for Halloween, and then we're going to have Philly Sports Own John Barchard from Philly Sports Radio Universe coming to do a Philly special edition with us, and we're ending on November 13th with a special recurring guest, our first recurring guest, hashtag Dinners Ready Lives, Mr. Dan Altano, joining us for a Thanksgiving edition. So give it up for all of your RUS GUTIN content coming at you, ladies and gentlemen. Go ahead and like and subscribe. Now, the last thing we need to do is a little bit of business. If you haven't joined us for a Zoom comedy show before, here's the rules of the road as your host this evening. The first thing I need you to do, sit up straight. Make sure the lighting is correct. Remove all animals and children from the room. Keep your mouth shut. Unmute that mute button because we want to hear your laughs, your claps, and your guffaws here on a Zoom online comedy show. Number two, if you do feel the need to talk to your children or to yourself or maybe one of your plants or something because we've been in quarantine for so long, or you need to take a giant piss or a long shit, go ahead and hit that mute button or hit that black screen and then come back and join us when you're done doing whatever you're doing so we can enjoy ourselves tonight. And then remember, number three, if you are going to disturb the show, in the old world, I would have our large Dominican security guard physically remove you from the room. But here in virtual comedy, I just click a little button and then you get shot off into inner space on one of Elon Musk's interweb spaceships like Time Cop. And then you're gone. So not all of the changes from real world comedy to virtual world comedy is so bad, is it? Okay. So give it up for the rules of the road and all of your new plugs about the content.
I'm really
now,
impressed with you that you memorized all that.
Yeah, you know, love you, baby boy. So it is time for your first segment every week here on Philly Comedy Club presents the RUS GUTIN Experience is your POPPA RUS QUARAN-BITS of the week, where I tell you how things have been going in the quarantine for me. So we've been on a little break, and I have to tell you that the most important thing that happened to me over the break, besides both of my kids' birthdays, my daughter starting kindergarten, Rosh Hashanah, Yom Kippur, and my 14th, that you heard me right, count it, my 14th wedding anniversary. Give it up for me. That's right, I did it. I have a workable wang. The most important thing that happened to me over the break is that I was one of the lucky Americans to get a PS5 pre-order, motherfuckers. Give it up for me, America. I did it. I persevered, and I have you know that I
That's the real testimony to your Wang, that you got a PS5 early.
That's right. Workable Wang, PS5 early. I'm firing on all cylinders, baby boy. And I want you to know something, Reg. I planned and saved and schemed for this for years. This wasn't just stimulus COVID money we're talking about, okay? All right, I have been squirreling this away. I entered high-level negotiations with my wife a year and a half ago. Like, listen, lady, this event is imminent, okay? For the last 6 months in quarantine, I have been coaching up my dad to be my backup computer and phone and tablet. I canceled all the plans for that day. I canceled homeschooling. Nobody's learning shit on PS5 pre-order day, okay? And I don't know if you read the news, but when pre-orders went live, it was unexpected and absolutely mass panic. But luckily, like a Boy Scout, I was prepared. Okay, Reg? I had every retailer, the big five, all queued up on my computer, okay? And I just ran over to that thing. I called my best friend, like, it's a go! It's a go! And, it was Black Hawk Down. Shit is real. And I'm refreshing shit like a dueling pianos. You know what I mean? I was like Jeffrey Rush in that Asperger piano movie.
Right.
Or whatever he did, okay? I'm refreshing shit. And then somehow, by the luck of whatever, I got through, Reg, and I got a PS5. And then my dad got through, and he got a PS5, and we're going to give it to my son. But I will have you know, America, some of my friends were like, yo, Russ, that's really cool that you got one for your son, too. Bullshit. If my dad had gotten one and I had not gotten one, I was keeping that shit. What are you, fucking nuts? I have to tell you, part of growing up, Reg, is knowing your limits, and my limits is not sharing the most sophisticated piece of video game equipment ever known to mankind with my 9-year-old son, okay? We tried to take turns playing Avengers the other week, and it was fucking tears 5 minutes into that, okay? Nobody has next in this fucking quarantine.
Got you.
Okay? And I was so excited that I got it. Reg, I ran upstairs all disheveled. I was like Doc Brown in Back to the Future, like I scared the shit out of my family. I got one! Marty! We've got it! We gotta go back, Okay, and my son got one. But here's where the story takes a turn, okay? Because my best friend, since I'm 7 years old, who I mentioned, Jesse, okay, he did not get through. He did not get one. So I was only able to enjoy getting these PS5s for like 5.5 seconds, okay?
Longer than that. That's Jesse's problem.
Because he's on the phone like, Russ, you gotta help me. And I would want him to do that same thing in the same situation. So I'm back to dueling pianos, Reg. And I'm trying to help him, right? So I've got all the joy of having one or twos of them, but all the stress of not having them, okay?
Right.
And then it goes on for days because servers crashed, and we're 2 days into it. I've got all of his credit card information. That's how long we've known each other.
Yeah, his social and everything.
Yeah, and I've got it all, and we can't get it. And I'm like, I can't sleep at night. I'm having stress dreams. I'm waking up in a cold sweat like, refresh, Russell! Refresh!
Hilarious.
Russell, refresh! I'm fucking up, Okay, but then we got the news that GameStop was going to have it. We got it like 12 hours in advance. So my best friend Jesse, Reg, he takes off work, okay, the next day, and he goes to the GameStop near us, and he gets online, and he's first online outside in a mask, waiting for 16 hours, okay? And the other geeks that showed up, oh my God, they worshipped him. They couldn't believe he was online. He's like, all right, nerds, who wants to touch me, okay? And, you know, I'm calling him. His phone died. I think he's getting fucking kidnapped or fucking bugged. I don't know what
Right.
goes on in the post-pandemic society.
You don't know
Okay?
what's happening to him because you have a wife who cares and loves you, and you got places to be.
Yeah, no, like, I'm not going
got 16
outside. No,
houses
no
to
way.
run.
I can't believe he did it. And he doesn't have kids. That's a good point. That's why
I've always
he
felt
made
like
this
this.
choice.
I've always felt like that. I've always felt very strongly about men who line up outside for stuff. Like,
Yeah. Generally, they have a limited amount of responsibilities.
personally, I think it's disrespectful to homeless people because here you are with a whole house.
Right.
Like, you know what? Forget all this heat and electricity. I'm gonna stand online. Like, nah.
Yeah, you motherfuckers. So here's the kicker, Reg, right? He waits 16 hours online. He's first online. They're best friends now, right? They've been through fucking Nerd Nam together, okay?
Right.
But what Jesse did not reveal to this new group of friends that he's with is that when he pays first, he is going to be paying for this PS5 with 52 GameStop gift cards that he has been collecting over the course of the last few years in many different denominations. All the denominations, okay?
Insane.
Yeah, it's gonna take a minimum of 38 minutes to check this motherfucker out, okay? So halfway through, the poor kid behind the counter, he's like, Mr. Palmer, my arms are tired. He's like, keep scanning, Brandon, you know. But so lo and behold, luckily, my son, my best friend, but most importantly, I got a PS5 pre-order, ladies and gentlemen. That's the point of the story. Because, Reg, I will tell you this. If I did not get one, I would have burned Sony's satellite and mothership to the fucking ground. My theory was, if I can't have one, nobody can have one.
That sounds about right.
Now, Reg, you're going to like this next part. I understand that this show is being broadcasted live on a Friday night. I can't control the news cycle, and I understand that the current president has caught the virus and is in the hospital. But I have prepared material based on what I heard the other night in the debate as a Jew in America, okay? So I still stand by this because I would say that it is the party's platform. And the other night, Reg, I don't know if you noticed, but during the debate, when asked to denounce white supremacy and the Proud Boys, our current president told them to stand back and stand by.
Yeah.
Means get ready. And as a Jew, what I hear is get ready to round up Russell and the Jews. Okay? That's what I hear. Okay.
As black people, what we heard was,
yeah.
As a black person, what I heard was, do you have a pistol?
Yeah. Are you armed to the teeth? It's on. Okay. Listen, this is not Call of Duty. This is real life. This is not PS5. Okay. And I am not saying that every person that supports the Republican Party or the current president, he who should not be named Voldemort, is a neo-Nazi Proud Boy, you know, white supremacist who wants to round up the Jews and anybody else not like them in case they get reelected. However, Reg, I have prepared a series of requests, questions, warnings, and economic tips for the supporters of the Republican Party who are neo-Nazi, Proud Boy, white supremacists.
Yeah. I knew he was in trouble. Like 2 weeks before he got COVID, they said that he was talking bad about the Jews, and I was like, oh, you don't do that.
Yeah, no, he said we're only in it for ourselves. But when it comes to a PS5, I can't say that
he was talking bad about the Jews. I was like, battle rappers don't even talk about Jews. Like,
yeah, no, listen, yeah. Hey, listen, who was pressing that vinyl back in the day? We laid the bricks of hip-hop. I don't want to bring up Rick Rubin and his NYU degree, but I'll do it, Reg. I'll do it all the doodah day. Okay?
I want to speak for everyone in this digital room when I say you spit on all of us just now.
Oh, yes, thank you. Well, it's from my overbite. It's very big. You can see it from space.
It hit
me. Now,
it was the Rick Rubin. You hit it on Rick Rubin.
That's right. Listen, That's
Oh
where
my
I want my beard to get. Now, listen, this is my thing, okay, Reg? This is my first request in case they are planning on rounding up the Jews, okay? Work camps. Are these going to be a thing again? Because I hate work and I hate camps, you understand? Okay, and yeah, and I have a lot of seasonal allergies. Okay, I'm allergic to pollen and the outside and animal dander. So I'm just saying, if we're gonna have a work camp situation, I would like to request an indoors job. You know, something like that. You know. Now, number two, everyone. If the Jews are rounded up, this is more of a film nerd question because everybody knows from watching this show I am a film nerd. My genuine film nerd request, if you're rounding up the Jews, Proud Boys, is I would prefer that you round us up before the release of John Wick 4 or after the release of John Wick 5, because you have to understand these are conjoined movies, okay? And I have a lot of time and merchandising money invested in this character and this story and this continuity. So what I'm saying is either round us up before so I can live with the imagination of what these movies could have been, or just round us up after so I can have some fucking closure of the continuity and the characters. Just don't do it in between. Like, it's like, I know you Proud Boys are dicks, but like, you know, beyond the pale. Okay, all right? Jesus. Okay. Now, number three, Reg, this is more of a question followed by a little bit of a warning or a heads up, okay? Because I have seen some of the Reddits and the rigmarole of rounding up the Jews and enslaving us to do work again to make up for all of the shit that they say we've done with controlling the banks and the media. But my father worked at Radio Shack at the Cherry Hill Mall and was a handyman that worked out of a van. So I am not one of the Jews that controls the media or the banks. Okay, so I just want to put that out there, you know, so they can, you know,
like, not you, your cousin.
Yeah. Like, where's your father's practice? At the Radio Shack at the mall next to the Auntie Anne. So I just want to say,
Well, we'll be
I
right
don't know,
there.
and yeah, I'm not Goldman or Sachs, okay? But here's my question, though. Throughout history, they have enslaved the Jews, and my question is, why do people keep enslaving the Jews, Reg? We make horrible slaves, okay? Right? We're complaining all the time. Every one of us is allergic to dairy, okay? And we're talking about America 2020 Jews, okay? We go to brunch. We have a mimosa.
I don't like where this is going. This whole passing the buck off on like where we don't make good slaves. I don't like where this is going at all.
Yeah. But listen, we
I
go
think
to brunch,
whoever's picked is
binge
picked.
watch
Okay?
shows about flipping properties, okay?
If they
We're
picked you,
not,
they picked you.
yeah, but we're not Sephardic, dark-skinned, you know, Egyptian lifting shit Jews, right? We're America 2020 Jews, right? So, and this is my warning, though, but Reg, this is my warning to the Proud Boys. Good luck enslaving one of the millennial Jews, okay? Because these motherfuckers don't work at all. They all wear the beanies, right? And they'll be showing up like the first day, like, oh my God, does this work camp have gluten-free options?
That's how every black person showing up the first day of slavery too. I'm not.
Yeah. What's the Wi-Fi password? You know?
None of us showing up
and then the guard will be like,
ready to pick up a broom.
Right, and the guard will be like, 9, and the millennial will be like, oh my God, stop yelling at me. I thought this was a safe space. I have a peanut allergy. And he'll be like, no, little Jacob. 9 is the Wi-Fi password. Now here is your work camp participation trophy, Jacob. Run along. Everyone's a winner at work camp. Okay, so that's a little warning. Okay, and the last thing I have, Reg, before we get to your segment, thank you for calling me out during my shit. Thank you. And but the last thing I wanted to say is more of an economic tip, because when I was growing up, Reg, and learning about the Holocaust and shit like that in Hebrew school, all of my association with Jews and camps was generally bad, you know, negative, you know. But when I was growing up in the 80s and the 90s in South Jersey, in Jutopia, in Cherry Hill, where I'm from, all of the Jew parents every summer could not wait to fill busloads of their Jew kids and send us off to summer Jew camp, day camp, sleepaway camp, basketball camp, and you heard me, Reg, there is Jew basketball summer camp. There's at least 3 Jews in the NBA.
I've heard that some Jews got a jump shot.
It's true. There's 3 Jews in the NBA right now. I counted. I don't know about the D League or anything like that, but I've only counted the pros. Okay? And they couldn't wait to send us off to camp. Okay? Now listen, all I'm saying is to the Proud Boys and stuff, if you are planning on rounding us up for work camp, okay, which I'm not down with, I still have kids, Reg, and I want this country to survive, and I want it to economically thrive, so I just want the Proud Boys and the white supremacists to know that we already have a bunch of Jew camps already set up. You know what I mean? Like, there's a bunch of work shit for us to do there. There's cabins for them to lock us in. There's already like synagogues on site for them to desecrate. So what I'm saying is, have at it, but save a few bucks while you do it. Deficit's not going to solve itself. So that is my list of requests and tips and questions for the white supremacists. So give it up for me, ladies and gentlemen. That is your QUARAN-BITS of the week. What it's a long slog to the top, but we did it together. Now, ladies and gentlemen, here on Season 2, Episode 1 of Philly Comedy Club Presents the RUS GUTIN Experience, I'm so excited to have another edition of Album of the Week, where I feature my favorite comedians and friends who have amazing albums for you to stream and buy right now while you're in the quarantine. So this week is no exception. This is my baby boy, as I say, and you guys are going to absolutely love it. I'm going to play some material that is featured on his amazing new EP called At the Comic Strip Live, which is available to stream on Spotify and to buy on iTunes right now. So please enjoy some material from my great friend and baby boy, and then he's going to join us for a little interview, Mr. REG. Ladies and gentlemen, give it up.
You see the gentleman on MTV. Show some love for Reg Thomas, everybody. Reg Thomas, let's go. Come on, crowd, come on. Give us a change. How you guys feeling? You guys are fucking nice. Is that true? Is this like a crowd full of New Yorkers? Is this true? Yeah! What the fuck I'm talking about, man? I'm from Brooklyn, man. I fucking love New York. I love New York women. Because New York women are sassy. A New York girl will shut you down before you even try to get her number. You see her walking down the block, you like, excuse me, miss, can I talk to you for a second? Time's up. I'm really from New York, yo. I'm so New York, yo. Y'all wanna know how New York I am? I'm so New York, I once slept with an Orthodox Jewish girl. Who's the chosen one now? I remember one time I was dating this chick from New York. She had way more street cred than I did. I've never experienced that. One night these guys tried to rob me, and they recognized me as being her boyfriend. The first dude ran up on me, he pulled out a gun. He's like, give me everything in your pockets right now. I was like, damn, this nigga really want my $5. I'm ready to give him my money, and his partner recognized me. He goes, yo, chill, man. You don't realize who that is? Yo, that's Erica's hubby. The guy was just like, yo, ain't you Erica's boyfriend? I'm such a punk. I was like, that's right. Get the fuck off me. Before I call my girl. I didn't even tell my girl what happened. I just went back to her apartment, had sex, and when it was all over, I was like, I feel so safe in your arms, babe. You are babe. I'm born and raised in this city. This ain't the same city I grew up in, though, man. Like, Brooklyn ain't the same. Like, I remember when I was younger, I couldn't even get my friends to come to Brooklyn. They'd be like, I don't want to go to Brooklyn. I'm scared I might get robbed. And that's because you might. But, like, that's old Brooklyn. Not new Brooklyn. We're gentrified now. Gentrified is the shit, dog. It means we have a surplus of white people. Surplus means too many. And I just don't know where all these white people came from. I think you're in Ohio. I'm like, we gotta do something about Ohio. They seem to be having a leak. This is one thing I've learned from all this gentrification though, like when white people learn new stuff, they like to share it. So I'll go to the same Jamaican restaurant that I've always gone to, and a white guy come up to me like, hey man, have you had this jerk chicken? I'm just there like, are you recommending my own shit to me? I don't think this is gonna work, sir.
Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome my very good friend and my baby boy, Mr. Reg Thomas, ladies and gentlemen. Reg, holy shit, God, it was just so great to watch those bits because it's just, I love your material. I love seeing you and the new world. I don't get to see you every few weeks like we were doing for the last few years.
Right,
you know?
right.
So it just, your material brings me such joy. So like I said, before we played that awesome clip, your new EP at the Comic Strip Live, which obviously was recorded at the Comic Strip Live, is now available to stream on Spotify or all your streaming services or to buy on iTunes right now. So my first question for you tonight, Reg, is in terms of material that's featured on at the Comic Strip Live, my question for you is, what is the oldest and what is the newest bit on the album? It's something I always like to ask my comic friends so the audience at home could see how long we sort of work on these things for.
So on that, probably the oldest bit on that album might be like I have a bit where I talk about dating a girl and she had more street cred than I did.
Yeah.
And like one night the guy tried to rob me and like, you know, like, yo.
Yeah, no, it's the best.
So that one right there might be like, so like, and like, it goes like that, right? So like some of your oldest jokes are usually the ones that are like the more polished ones. So like that one's one of the older one jokes. And then like probably in that set, probably one of the newer jokes is the whole New York girls that shut you down in a heartbeat type of.
Oh, okay, yeah, because the time's up. Okay, because I was curious about that. I was curious if that was like an earlier punchline
that was a newer joke at that point.
No, but that's amazing. See, that's what I love people to learn about this, because I've talked to people on this show where like they're like, yeah, I wrote that like 2 weeks before, but the other thing was like 6 years old. So that's what's so amazing about the beautiful art.
The way I like to go about doing stand-up is like, for whatever reason, I always do like, I'll get like my first opener jokes to get the crowd in there. And then for whatever reason, I like, whatever my new jokes are, those are the jokes that have been on my head the most. So I'll do those up top in the set. And if it goes bad or not, if they don't like it or whatever, I know I'm gonna just do the older jokes that'll win them over by the end.
Right. You know what Jerry Seinfeld says? He says, even for him, he says like the beginning, that's for them. The end, I know I'm going to have this, but the middle, that's for me. That's what he said. He goes,
Yeah.
that's for me. That's where I do what I'm gonna do. That's where I do what I love.
Yeah, absolutely.
Now, speaking of that, Reg, you and I have known each other for quite some time now, and
You're the
one
first
of the,
person to ever take me on the road. Appreciate
yeah,
it.
that's right, that's right. And one of the things that has always drawn me to your work and you as a person is just really your presence on stage, and by that I mean your ease of presence. You have such an ease at being
Very relaxed up there. Very,
yeah, you're very, yeah, like me, I'm just like blah, 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 blah. Yeah, and you're just so good at being yourself up there. And what I've noticed as somebody who is standing off stage watching you is just instantaneously, I feel like the audience feels like they know you and they're hanging out with you. And there's just like an instant like kinship and friendship. And it's not something that every comic can really pull off, because what I've noticed is that off stage, you are also just as cool and as comfortable in your own skin and as affable. So that's what I love about you. I love that for the audience and for me, what you see is what you get. You're authentic. And we know in our business that is not always one and the same thing. So my question for you is, was that something that you always had, or is that something that you developed over time?
That was something I developed over time. Because for sure, like the confidence and just the ease on stage, that probably just came in all honesty, like with just like all the bad things that have probably like, and bad things happen to everyone. Like, you know, like this isn't a sob story.
Right.
Like we all have bad things that happen to us, and like, you know, we all have our own trials and tribulations. So like just thinking about the things I've been through and just like the awkward moments I've had to live through, like just standing there in front of an audience is like I could get through this. Like
Right,
I've been through worse.
exactly. It's
Like
so scary.
So me being approachable and me being like, you know, like open to them, or like me not necessarily having a wall up when I'm talking to the audience. That's just really for me, just being like, yo, I've been through worse. What like. And on top of that, bombing helps. Like once you've bombed enough.
But, bombing helps. Hashtag bombing helps.
Like, you know, like I remember I used to do comedy shows before I got to Open for You. I used to do comedy shows where it was like you have like the audience is just full of just old gang members that you thought died. That's like you thought this person died, but they're here looking for some chuckles. Right. And the pressure's on, you know? So it's like, my ease, it really comes from just like really being through some, like I've just been through bad situations. I'm just like, you know what? Like I could just, I'm not, you know, I'm just not scared of it. I'm just not scared of the moment.
No, you know what, Reg? I think that's one of the reasons, you know, you saying that to me now is very revealing, because you and I have had a lot of experiences together, but I haven't heard you say quite that before. And I think one of the reasons that you and I get along so well is that we have this sort of excitement and gratitude and sort of like happy to be here vibe. You know what I mean? Yeah. It's like I've dealt with so many people who are difficult. It's like, yo, we're getting paid to talk about our junk. Like, like that is a really good job. Like I've had awful jobs. This is the best job. Like,
right. Well, I mean, with me and you in particular, like I just always realized that your enthusiasm for comedy and life was just authentic. So it was never, it never really costing me anything to reciprocate that energy back, because I was like that's just how you came. Like that's just how I met you. Like your energy was always authentic. So it was just like, and it was very.
That's a really nice thing to say to somebody. Jesus Christ, I'm in the quarantine. I'm gonna get all emotional. That's very nice. And it was just, well, I do. I love it. And I love your stand-up. And this brings me to my next subject. Now, Reg, one of the coolest things about you is that over the last few years, you have had one of the coolest sort of underground, sort of hip comedy shows. Yeah. Both in New York and LA. With another awesome comic who I'm lucky enough to know and have done a bunch of shows with, named Jordan Rock.
Bam,
Called,
bam, 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 bam.
yeah, boom, boom, boom. Called Productively Stoned, which is, I love that because I feel like the human embodiment.
That's what
of
it says.
productively stoned. I have 2 kids. I'm the most productively stoned. I'm productive. You know what I mean? He's so productive. So I love the show.
I love that your wife is in the other room.
Oh yeah, they're upstairs. I have a basement I live in. I'm like Sloth in the Goonies. They keep me.
They're both upstairs.
Yeah. So I live downstairs. And so what I was gonna ask you is sort of an origin story question. How did you and Jordan meet up in the first place, and how did the show Productively Stoned get started?
So me and Jordan had mutual friends in comedy. We used to always hang out at a comedy show called Fat Baby, and that was very early on. That was very early on when I first started doing comedy.
I'm honorary Fat Baby. Did you know that? I'm an honorary Fat Baby.
Yeah, I know you are. I do. We both are. And so
It's a proud. It's like a
Gallerati
badge.
was my
Like
first friend in comedy. Julio Gallerati was my first friend in comedy. He's the one that brought me to Fat Baby.
Really?
Yeah, and so like you know how white comedy is. So like
Yes. Oh, very much.
Jordan was like, "Is that another black dude telling jokes?" And
We only had these guys, you know.
we dressed the same. We both from Brooklyn. We both like light skinned girls with curly hair. It was a lot. It was a lot.
Oh, that's for real. Yo, that's real shit.
So we just became just real mutual. We just became like we just started a friendship really from that, and then from that he started a monthly comedy show at Karma Lounge, which was like one of the last places in New York City where you could smoke cigarettes.
Yeah, no, I've done shows there with you and also with a guest later this season. Naomi and Andy used to run a show there that I've done as well.
And so Jordan came up with the words "productively stoned," and then like once his acting career picked up, I really just took the flag and I've just been going hard with it with the brand.
No, it's wonderful, and it's so funny that you mentioned that because one little anecdote and then another sub question for you is that a few years ago when we first met up, you know, because Poppa Rus, you know, loves being productively stoned. You were like, "Yo, Russ, you got to come down, you know, come through." And I was like, "This is so cool. I'm so excited. You asked me to be on the show." And I was so excited to be there. And then I got there and I looked at the crowd and they were so young and hip and good looking and sort of like modern dress and everything. And I immediately
from the Productively Stoned.
What?
A lot of hot chicks from the Productively
Yeah,
Stoned.
oh, it was so many chicks, and I immediately felt like the corny chaperone at a junior high school dance, or the white substitute in Harlem, but not in a Michelle Pfeiffer way. Like I'm gonna get beat up while I go get my
Right.
So, you know, like I was like, so one of these things is not like the other. One of these Russes doesn't belong, and but I had such a blast with you and Jordan that night because I knew Jordan a little bit. But I have noticed during the pandemic that you guys have done some online shows like we're doing now. You've done some live socially distant shows. So I was just curious where people can catch what Productively Stoned is up to at the moment.
So right now, Productively Stoned, like Russ gave a great introduction to, we've been producing for 5 years. We do pop-up shows all around the country. We've done it in DC, Denver, LA. And basically what it is it's a stand-up comedy show, but we have a 20-minute smoke session with the audience. It's BYOW, bring your own room. We smoke with you for 20 minutes.
Love it.
And then usually we take you to another room where we have the comedy show. So you're high at a comedy show, you're not at a comedy show.
Oh no, it was the best. I was confused too.
It was a lot of trial and error. I had to learn, like, okay, you let them smoke and then you stop it and then the show.
Right.
If you let them smoke throughout the show, they fall asleep and pass out. So
Yeah, no, I experienced that in LA. I was like, these people are not listening to me.
They give them 20 minutes and then boom. And so since March, throughout the whole quarantine, we were doing a weekly Zoom show for Productively Stoned. And now with New York being back open, like being semi kind of open, I've been doing outdoor live shows where I have a venue out in Bushwick. It's 16 tables and a nice patio, so you're not in the
Oh,
street.
wonderful. I saw you had a bunch of high school friends show up too on your Insta.
Yeah. Cause like I don't know if you guys have had that experience of eating outside on the street. Have you guys done this? The outside dining?
No, well, we've only done. My wife has actually done a little bit more of it in like the parking lots and stuff. I went to a restaurant for the first time since March, a few weeks
Patty, you
ago.
been eating outside? You ate outside?
I did just the other night. Yeah.
Did you like the
Yeah.
experience of eating outside?
I love eating outside. I love eating al fresco, as we Italians call it. And,
Patty, I think you're lying. I think you're lying, Patty. It's a terrible experience. They're putting us in the street to have. You're like
I wasn't in the
It
street. I was on the
depends. No,
patio.
Yeah.
okay,
exactly.
the patio. Okay, thank
Yeah.
you. Meet me
I
halfway.
I never, you know what? I never liked
Patio,
eating
Patty.
outside.
I'm with you.
Patio,
Patio,
I never liked eating outside in the city. I
No,
never
in New
understood
York,
that.
in New York, it's a terrible experience. They got
It's
you-
disgusting. It's
You're
disgusting.
eating in the bike lane. You're eating in traffic.
Yes.
Cars coming at
You're
you.
basically drinking an exhaust while you're eating.
Yeah.
It's never been pleasant. I've always hated
Taste the
it.
food. I mean, it's
It's
impossible.
just very
It's
pretentious.
the worst.
It's like we're eating in the street. We're trying to act like the bus just didn't drive by brunch. It's like, come on. we're in traffic. Like this is usually the bike lane.
Yeah, and then you're trying to do comedy on top of that, which we know, Reg, that if comedy's not in the right environment, considering where the old Philly
Let me tell you
venue was, or
All these outdoor shows are a step above dancing on the train.
no,
Every time I tell jokes outside, I'm like, I should have got my master's. I should have never gave up.
yeah, no, I should have learned to twirl on the poles at the subway.
I should have just been an accountant who works too much with a wife who cheats. I'd have been so much more. Here I am chasing dreams. There are
No,
people,
but listen, it's important.
and like society is even worse because here we are trying to do shit outside while homeless people are 5 feet away from us. Like,
yeah,
the
no, that's
guy,
not right.
he's sleeping butt naked, and I'm trying to tell jokes. We're so trash.
It's about the craft, Reg. It's about the craft.
We're all so trash.
Now, I'm really excited for this part of your segment. And again, I can't thank you enough, Reg, for joining me here tonight. But for the last question I have for you tonight, and it's story time, Reg, okay? Because you and I have done a metric ton of shows together over the last few years, okay? And like you said earlier, you have always graciously told me that I was the first headliner that you had opened for on the road. Now, I have always enjoyed that story because that was the first time that I was ever truly headlining on the road without renting out the club myself, you know, it was through a record label and through somebody else. And so it was so neat that, like, it was neat to you, but it was neat to me. So I feel like it has always sort of, you know, connected us in a sort of way. And it was such a magical night, and that crowd really was great. But then, since then, you and I have worked so many shows together in Connecticut, where that show was, and then New York, and then Philly, but then a lot of shows. Atlantic City, that's right. And the last show that you and I did together was a week before the pandemic hit. If I'm not mistaken, it's my last appearance in front of human beings, okay? And in the current political climate, audience at home and Reg, you have heard a lot of stories about audience members attacking the comedian on stage, okay, and incidents happening. But the last time Reg and I were together, in 21 years of comedy, Reg, it was the first time that I had ever seen two tables in the audience attack each other.
Right.
And it was right before
a fight broke out at my headlining show.
Right, and that was what was so interesting is that I was hosting, you were headlining, it was right before you were about to go on. So my question to you is, Reg, what is your recollection of events that night, and I will chime in where it needs be, but I've got to know what your experience and your point of view that night was.
So I was, you know, you brought me on stage. You did a great job hosting up top. You brought me on stage. I might have been on for about 15 minutes. It was give and go, but it was going good. It was smooth, you know. I was in my rhythm. But like the right side of the room, the whole time, the right side of the room, there's like chatter.
Right.
But the whole rest of the room is into the show. So I'm like, you know what? This is whatever. I could ride with this. And
I always play to the people who are listening. You know what I mean? So
all I hear from the right side of the room goes, "Are you fucking serious?"
Right. Are you
and then like, you won't shut the fuck up. And I'm like, what is happening? We all looked to the right side of the room, and apparently there was two couples showed up, and one of them was shit-faced drunk, and the wife would not stop talking throughout my set.
The whole thing, dude.
There was a third couple who was sitting in front of him, and like the wife was just tired of the other wife talking. So she turned around and threw her drink in the lady's face.
Boom!
Oh.
Yeah.
So now the wives are going back and forth. This is what's crazy. The wives are so thugged out. Mind you, this is all white people. The wives
all white people. Yeah, no. We forgot. I was waiting for you. I wanted you to say it.
It feels black. The story up top feels very black, is very white. And so
I needed you to say it. Yeah, it's only white people that ever do this, by the way.
So, but this is what's the best part. The women are so gangster about going at each other. The husbands are like deers in headlights. They had no idea. They're like, wait, so do we start fighting? Like,
yeah.
The husbands don't even know what to do with themselves. They're like, I came here to listen to jokes. They're like, me too. I don't know. Like, why?
Yeah, and it's like $30 a ticket, you know.
So now, we're trying to get, you know, like security is Russ. Security is Russ and the bartender.
Right, yeah.
We're trying to wrangle this
security is Russ and the bartender. Because you saw the security guards at the Clarence, right? They're like the ghost security guards from Night at the Museum.
Right. They couldn't catch Patty. Like, Patty. All of them. So here we are. We got Russ and the bartender rounding them up. So Russ and the bartender, they're very decent. They kick out the couple that was talking. They don't kick out the girl that threw the drink, and they don't kick out other couple. Because you remember it was two couples that came together, but only one of them was being rowdy.
Yeah, no, the table closest to the stage, they had been enjoying the show, and they were the ones
they were with the rowdy couple that got the drink thrown on.
Yeah.
So they get kicked out. So I'm still telling jokes on stage. All you hear is Russ and the couple arguing backstage in the Clarendon. And like, Russ is like one of the sweetest people I've ever known. Russ is one of the sweetest guys I know. All you hear from the back of the room, get the fuck back! I said, get back! Get the fuck back! I was like, what is happening in the back right now?
Oh my God.
Like I said, Reg,
I'm trying to tell jokes, but me and the audience could care less about what I gotta say. We just want to know what's going on with us.
Yeah.
Get the fuck back! Get out of here!
Because they're coming at Amy Lynn. They're coming at my bar manager. It was about to be Cobra Kai up in that motherfucker.
So now I'm still telling jokes. So now we're probably at like 20 minutes.
Oh my God.
And you got to do 40.
I'm just trying to tell jokes about what just happened. Russ comes back, and Russ is like, you know what? We don't even got to finish the show. I'm like, you know what? I
remember telling the audience, here's something I remember. Alex Quo was there too. He's a great young comic. He's got great stuff about having braces too. That's great stuff. And I remember saying to the audience, you know what? I didn't tell you guys, but we're having an audience fight club tonight. We're going to line you up, shortest and tallest. And I pointed to the oldest guy in the audience. I was like, I'm going to fuck you up, Rip Van Winkle. I'm going to light you up, motherfucker.
So to hear Russ scream at the top of his lungs like that was something. It was memorable, very memorable.
Wow, Reg, you have absolutely delivered, because I absolutely appreciate that, because I only remember certain parts of it because it was so infuriating. Because as a Jew, everyone else there paid for a ticket, and they probably had to sign up for the app and give their email. It's such a travesty. So so I can't thank you enough for saying that. I really am in this business known for being a sweet person, but unfortunately, over the last few years, I have also become security at some of these events.
Right.
So, but I can't thank you enough for joining us tonight. And like I said, our guest here on Album of the Week on Season 2, Episode 1 of Philly Comedy Club Presents The Russ Gutin Experience has been the star of the new EP, available for streaming on Spotify and buying on iTunes, at the Comic Strip Live, my baby boy, Mr. Reg Thomas, ladies and gentlemen. Give it up. And like I always say at the end of our gigs, Reg, I am so glad that me and Sean Penn were in Haiti that day in that rowboat, and
You know
we
what?
brought you here to America.
I knew he was gonna ruin it.
It's my specialty, Reg. So, thank you. All right, so ladies and gentlemen, we're coming to the final stretch here tonight. Have you guys had a good time here?
Yes.
All right. So, it's time for our last segment of every episode of the Russ Gutin Experience, where we open up the questions to the gallery for an ARA or APA. Ask Russ anything or ask Papa anything. And this week, despite whatever is going on in the news right now as we speak, with a current president being brought to Walter Reed, I still stick with my debate election subject tonight. So, in the gallery, we open up to questions with a theme of the election, the debates, or anything going on in that arena right now. Ask Papa anything.
Ooh.
If you could pick any celebrity to be president, who would it be?
Okay, wow. This is a tough one. There's so many choices. Now, do you want Willem Dafoe just so that you can see him do something stupid like, hello, this is State of the Union, I would love that. It would be very creepy. Everybody would be creeped out. Obviously, the other day, nobody could help but think that The Rock should be president, right? The Rock should be president. He had the cantaloupe pecs and everything filling out the shirt. I just don't see any other country threatening us if The Rock is president. But of course, that would enter us into idiocracy territory and having Terry Crews be our president. And Reg, you know that we can't have Terry Crews be the president. I don't want to get into all of that.
Right.
Now, if I were to really pick one celebrity, I guess, if I'm answering totally honestly, which is what this segment is about, I guess I would say Mark Ruffalo. Or as the ladies or my wife would say,
I like it.
Ruffalo. Because now, am I partial to comic book characters and the Hulk in particular? Sure, but I have to tell you, Mark Ruffalo, he's anti-fracking. He's pro-Native American reservation. He's so articulate. He cares about causes. He's a smart. As a matter of fact, now that I think about it, why the fuck isn't Mark Ruffalo the president, or at least the Democratic nominee? What the fuck are we even doing? It's so obvious that he should be in charge. So if I were to make a choice, I would say Mark Ruffalo, Hulk smash. So, ladies and gentlemen, give it up for another session of Ask Papa Anything. Thank you so much, everybody, for joining us on Season 2, Episode 1 of Philly Comedy Club Presents the RUS GUTIN Experience here on Zoom. Like I said earlier in the show, if you want to catch up with the show, you can go to my YouTube channel and like and subscribe and catch up with all of Season 1 of our episodes and segments with amazing guests and amazing awesome stuff, including segments where I check in with my comic friends who have been quarantined with their parents, called Say Hi to Your Mom For Me, including Chris Scopo, Ben DeMarco, and America's Got Talent's Usama Siddiqui. And this episode will be posting on my YouTube channel very shortly as part of Season 2. Please join us next week. Today is October 2nd, so it would be my wife's birthday next Friday, October 9th, where we will be joined by the Commissioner of Comedy and Paper House Network's podcast star of the Commissioner of Comedy, Mr. James Mattern. I'm hoping it will be live and on location, but that interview might be pre-recorded. But also, we will be joined by Paper House Network's podcast co-host of Rust Belt Rivals, Mr. Nick Angelo, for me and him to break down the Eagles-Steelers Keystone Bowl matchup coming up next week. So you don't want to miss that episode. And you can get your tickets at phillycomedyclub.com. Thank you so much for joining us on Season 2, Episode 1 of the RUS GUTIN Experience. And for Reg Thomas for joining us, thank you so much. Good night, ladies and gentlemen. Yeah!